I have cooked up a little bit of a scrumptious meal for the Super Break mains, if I can say so myself. The Super Break Zero Cycle Min Maxers. Alright, this is for the Super Break Zero Cycle Cost Maxer Meta Elitist Ego 4-piece, all that kind of stuff, right? So, in terms of a Super Break Zero Cycle, I am just gonna be completely honest. I haven't tried it with Rabbi and Boothill. Because I was just thinking to myself, who actually still cares about Rabbi and Boothill? You can't even get a goddamn banners, bro. Like, they're literally never coming back, right? So this entire post was essentially mainly my testings done with essentially Firefly, right? Yo, sleep. Firefly, right? So it was basically trying out whether or not them zero cycles is gonna be runnable, especially if we're gonna be talking about a sustainless Superbreak team with the Dahlia, right? So yes, the answer is essentially it's 100% doable, right? And in fact, if you are gonna be running sustainless Dahlia, I think one of the most straightforward assumption is that, yep, just go ahead and run Fugue, Ruan Mei, and Dahlia, and that is basically the team. But as accurate as that might be from a E0 standpoint, but cost-wise, right? Because 3 E0 is 3 cost, right? Cost-wise, I have very, very good expectations. If we are gonna take away one of these limited 5 stars, slot in Harmony Trailblazer, just like how RMC is like a cost cheater, HMC is essentially the cost cheater for Superbreak, and just get that E1 Dahlia. For this perspective, it is technically like the same cost, and then the last slot, if you want to be real about it, if you're a Superbreak main, everyone has Ruan Mei, right? Everyone has Ruan Mei. I don't literally whether or not you play Superbreak, literally everyone has Ruan Mei. So everybody has Ruan Mei. Fantastic. So I think that one of the consensus is, should you pull Fugue in this particular point, right? Especially if you're talking about like a zero cycle perspective. Frankly, you don't really have to. Because zero cycle running E0 Firefly with a E1 Dahlia HMC and a Ruan Mei without Fugue is actually surprisingly manageable. It was surprisingly manageable. Maybe it's just because E1 Dahlia is that good, but it's also because, okay, this is no leakers. It is just based on the current, the current information we have for both Fugue and Ruan Mei. Do you guys know that Fugue actually does not have any winner's break efficiency? I just feel like it is a little bit out of touch for me because I have an E2 Fugue. And then for the longest time, I'm like, wait, Fugue gives you like so much value, right? It gives like E2 DDD, and then the E1 gives you. But baseline E0 Fugue actually does not give you any winner's break efficiency. So the problem here is essentially if we are going to be running Dahlia, right? If we're going to be running Dahlia, one of the issues that will probably be arising is before you actually break the enemy target, you first have to get through that initial chunk of toughness bar. Because otherwise, if that is not going to be able to be achieved, you can't really make use of Fugue's exo toughness at all. Does it make sense? Whereas on the flip side, Ruan Mei actually has 50% winner's break efficiency for the entire team, by the way. For the entire team. Even Fugue only gives you a 50% break efficiency for the main DPS, right? So this is why I was saying, like, Ruan Mei honestly could potentially outvalue Fugue for one of the things is going to be the winner's break efficiency. Then this is going to be the power of right? The power of And once again, this post, right, it is really just for the zero cycle min maxers, right? If you don't want to care about zero cycle, frankly speaking, don't really give a shit about it that much. But for the power of on Ruan Mei, it is actually really good because skill point economy was relatively manageable because of partially because of Dahlia's kit, but also partially because the next upcoming MOC buff, it gives you a little bit more in that regard, right? So you don't really feel the stress for getting Ruan Mei's S1 as much anymore. You can actually go on without Ruan Mei S1 because you kind of want to store your Firefly ultimate anyways, because you kind of want to get your Dahlia out first, right? So the whole process just becomes a little bit more straightforward without a Ruan Mei S1 and without Fugue. And I would say that getting that Dahlia, whether you want to get the E0 or the E1, I think she's pretty much almost non-negotiable for any Superbreak mains. It just depends if you want to try Zero Cycle yourself. I would say that for Sustainless, right? Sustainless team, at least in 3.8, it was very, very manageable. Super, super manageable. I don't even think you have like any issue unless you are playing Reba Bulio. Then it's gonna be a little bit more not manageable. But for at least from all my Firefly Sustainers runs, it was like very, very comfy, right? It was very, very comfy. And I feel like inherently it's just not really like the other two DPS's problem. And frankly speaking, do you guys play Bulio or Reba? No, right? Okay, so that is pretty much it. So to kind of summarize up everything, Superbreak enjoyers, Dahlia is a very, very safe option, right? So if you want to play Superbreak going into version 4, right? I'm not saying you pull Superbreak just because you want to pull it for Firefly, but like if you want to quit playing Firefly by version 4 because you're gonna be greedy and stupid, you're gonna put a version 4 DPS, then there's not really a lot of point getting Firefly anymore because you're gonna dump her, right? You're gonna break off your girlfriend. But if you still want to be together with a girlfriend, you want to use Firefly going to version 4, then I think like that is like a very, very straightforward, right? Just get one cost, E0, S0. I think the S1 is really just not that important, right? We have like tutorial, we have resolution, we have what's the other game? Solidarity, right? Solidarity for the pro. So like it's very, very chill. E0, S0. If you really, really want to get two costs, E1 I think is gonna be pretty good. So that is gonna be another round of the early access Let me know what you guys think in the clip channel. Oh, wait. One more thing. With that, I'll see you guys in the clip channel. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. Okay, that's pretty much it. Alright, chat. Thoughts and opinions. Okay, so yeah, her tiers are absolutely massive. That's why I'm considering Dahlia because you have E1. Okay, if you have E1 Ruan Mei, right? By the way, if you have a lot of defense break sources, I would refrain from using resolution. Because resolution gives you the defense down, right? But like Superbreak itself has a lot of defense down. Because your Iron Cavalry 4-piece is 25% on Superbreak damage, and then you have your E1 which is 20%, and then like you have your Dahlia or herself also has built-in defense now. So like if you're gonna be getting very, very close to like 100%, then you might as well just better off run like tutorial or the other one, the Solidarity. Yeah, Solidarity. Fugue get favoritism for Reba and Bolt here, so it's fair for Firefly. Okay, but the thing is, Fugue was also pretty decent for Firefly though. Especially E2 Firefly. In fact, if you had an E2 Firefly back then, she was like it's not even she is the definitive best E2 Superbreak DPS. Definitively speaking. So it kind of air what I am, right? What about resolution Lycone? Okay, if you have resolution Lycone for Dahlia, wait, Kimchi Ramyeon. I literally just said it 30 seconds ago. The guy literally just said, by the way, I'm not gonna be getting Fugue because I literally just said don't overstack on defense now. And never discard. Ego. Ooh, okay, yo. Ego 4-piece is really, really valuable. But if you're gonna be running Ego 4-piece, you're essentially aiming for the pseudo 200 speed, which I think it might be a little bit excessive, assuming you have access to DDD. Because other than that, Dahlia herself actually deals a considerable amount of Superbreak damage. Because she herself has the, from the live stream, right? She has the follow-up attack, she has her own Superbreak multipliers, her ultimate is a damage, her skill is a damage, her everything in her kit does Superbreak damage. So you are essentially going to be, it's a little bit like Ego 4-piece Tribi versus 4-piece Poet Tribi. You could run like Tribi as like a DDD bot and just run all in of the ultimate, or you could just let her deal more damage. So it kind of just depends on what you want. Yeah, but Ego 4-piece I think is gonna be it's gonna be useful if you specifically want that third action. For 267 on 4th action, I think it's gonna be a little bit useless. So and I want to do right. What should I do, Mr. 1%? I have E1 Fugue and Ruan Mei with E0 as a 0 Firefly. Pull Dahlia. I think that is actually a very good team though. E1 Fugue with Ruan Mei and E0 as 0 Firefly. Okay, you don't need a pull Firefly S1. I think that's fine. But getting E0 as 0 Dahlia will allow you to play that Sustainless team. Nobody should fucking pull Lingsha, not gonna lie. I think Lingsha is like just fuck it and play either Gallagher or play Sustainless. So it's her E6 S5 broken as a DPS to remove Firefly. Are you talking about Dahlia? I don't ever test E6 S5s on the creator server because I want to save that for like live server reset. But from like what I've seen the E6, it looks kind of meh. For an E6, if that E6 was in an E2, I think it's really, really good. But it's for an E6. So I think it's not too crazy. How long do you think Superbreak can survive after 4.0 with Dahlia after seeing that performance? You are being very, very disrespectful by asking that question, so I'm not gonna answer.
Anyway,
Okay,
chat,
by the way, Firefly should try to hit a specific speed. Because the thing is, right now, you would ideally want Firefly to go her enhanced skill during combustion mode 4 times. Why 4 times, you might ask? Okay, chat, do you guys know how Firefly's energy regeneration works? It essentially recovers 60% of her max energy for that first normal skill. But other than that, you're probably running into energy problems, right? Now, we know from the live stream that Dahlia gives us energy, so, health and all that kind of stuff. But specifically the number 4. Alright, 4. So you really, really, really want to try to let Firefly get that 4th action in. Because if you can, you essentially gain 100% ultimate uptime, which is kind of crazy, right? Yep, that's a great question from Cakers.
You have cooled your last cool, my man.